Good evening and welcome back to Golden Eagle Sports Report. Nancy, the women's basketball team is sneaking into the NCAA top 25.
You said it, Gabriel, and the Marquette volleyball team is getting ready to go dancing. Get ready, Marquette Nation, because Golden Eagle Sports Report starts right now.
Slam dunk! Oh, that's a poster. From the Jeannie Hayes Virtual Studio at Marquette University, this is Golden Eagle Sports Report.
Marquette gets the rebound, and the champions have gone down!
Hello everyone, I'm Gabriel Cistrica alongside Nancy Flaherty.
The Marquette men's basketball team is entering its last leg of non-conference play tonight against the number 6 ranked Baylor Bears in the Big 12 Big East Challenge.
The men are coming off an 82-68 victory over Chicago State.
And although the game did not go Marquette's way in the first half, Gabriel, the men pick up the pace in the second half and grind out the victory.
Absolutely, as sophomore standout Cam Jones ends the game as the top scorer for Marquette with 15 points.
Now the volleyball team is putting on its dancing shoes.
You got that right. Marquette is ranked number 4 in the Texas section of the NCAA championship bracket.
And the fun comes to Milwaukee, as Marquette will host the first and second round at the Al McGuire Center Thursday and Friday. They open play against Ball State at 7 p.m.
Yeah, I think they're excited about it. We're excited about it. Hopefully the crowd gets rocking, and we'll hope for an awesome student turnout. I love the Thursday night feel. I think they'll be excited to come. It's a night, hopefully they don't have 10 exams on Friday. And they'll be ready to have some fun at our game.
Now before the big dance, the Golden Eagles take silver in the Big East tournament against the Creighton Blue Jays. But the women did not walk home empty-handed. Sophomore setter Yadira Enchante takes home Big East Setter of the Year and earns her spot on the All-Big East team. Now 4 other Eagles find themselves on the list as well. Junior outside hitter Aubrey Hamilton, sophomore outside hitter Jenna Reitzma, junior middle blocker Carson Murray, and sophomore middle blocker Hattie Bray. Now both Enchante and Murray were unanimous selections to that Big East team. Bray is also unanimously selected to the Big East freshman team, alongside teammate first year Ella Foti.
And to get you ready for the NCAA tournament, we welcome in sports reporter Jack Albright. Jack, it's good to have you back.
Great to be on the show.
And Marquette is coming off a loss to Creighton in the Big East Tournament Championship. What caused that misstep, Jack?
The fact that they had 5 service errors in the 5th set is scary. 1/3 of Creighton's points in that last set came from times when Creighton didn't even need to be on the court to obtain the point. That's something to look at in the future as an issue for the Golden Eagles. The other thing that really stuck out to me was off of serves, Aubrey Hamilton didn't look comfortable. She didn't look like herself. The passes weren't great. Yadira Enchante couldn't get into the position she needed to. It just looked uncomfortable for the Golden Eagles all around. And they need to clean that stuff up if they have any hopes of making a run come NCAA tournament time.
Absolutely, Jack. And you talked about what they did wrong, but let's talk about what they did right. The Golden Eagles did take 2 sets from the Blue Jays, and including a thrilling 4th set. What was going right for them, and what do you think was going right for them, and what will they need to do to carry on into the tournament?
You mentioned that 4th set, 33-31 final. I was sitting on a plane watching the game, and boy, was I into it. But when you look at what they did right, good defense turned into offensive rhythm for the Golden Eagles all night. They let Yadira Enchante go to work, play her game, play her style, and I think when you watch more of that, you see more of that, that's where the Golden Eagles' success really comes in. You have to make Yadi's life easier if you have any hopes of going far. Setter's the most important position in volleyball. I will die on that hill. It really is, because you can't set up the attack properly without it, and if she's comfortable, the Golden Eagles are comfortable.
I totally agree about that setter point, Jack. And moving forward, the team hosts Ball State on Thursday. What do they need to do to advance in this tournament?
They need to clean up the defensive mistakes by playing rock-solid defense. You see that Ball State is really, really good at digs. They're 5th in the country at digs, averaging over 17 digs per set. Marquette needs to be able to not necessarily match that, but stay competitive to that. If they're able to get kills within the 10-foot line, it's going to be really hard for Ball State to do anything. The other main thing, like I mentioned before, is keeping Yadira Enchante comfortable. What she likes to do is this little dump over the net when people think she's going up to set. That's where you get a lot of points from. If she's able to do that within the 10-foot line, Ball State's going to have a world of troubles.
And you know, Jack, you talked about Yadira a lot. Who do you think is going to be the leading factor in this postseason run?
It's going to be Yadira Enchante. I've been saying it all night. I'm going to continue to say it. She is the most important player for the Golden Eagles this season. It's going to continue in the postseason. It was the entire way for the regular season. If she's able to spread the ball out, spread out kills among Jenna Reitzma, among Aubrey Hamilton, among Ella Foti, you see Hattie Bray also going for kills every now and again. It's going to be a lot easier because teams can't necessarily predict where she's going to go. The versatility is a big factor for the Golden Eagles, and that needs to continue.
You know, absolutely, Jack. And last year, Marquette lost in the first round to Dayton. How far do you think they will go this year?
I can see them going to the Sweet 16. They're going to beat Georgia Tech. They're better than Georgia Tech. They can beat Georgia Tech. But the second they travel down to Austin, it's going to be all Texas. The number 1 seed in their bracket, Marquette's number 4. Texas is too good, especially the fact that Marquette isn't home. They can't beat Creighton on the road. They're not going to beat Texas. Enemy territory. They need to have a perfect game if they have any chance of beating that Longhorns team. And on the road, they can't do it. So I'm going to have to go Texas, but they're going to get to the Sweet 16, and I think they're going to look back on the season in a positive light. New pieces coming to the team, a lot of players leaving, the fact that they did not have Hannon Vandenberg for the entire season, basically. It's going to be positive, but they're not going to go any further than Texas.
And you talked about the home court advantage. How important do you think that is for the Golden Eagles this upcoming week?
Absolutely massive. When you looked at how they played against Creighton at home, where they had the highest amount of attendance in the entire season, over 3,000 people, they were able to sweep Creighton. That was the crazy, crazy upset because of the crowd. You know, you heard Ryan Tice joking in the press conference about how they hope to not have, students don't have 10 tests on Friday so they can come in. He later said that students shouldn't have anything going on Thursday night. So if fans are there, it's going to be a win for Marquette. It's going to be a massive role for the Golden Eagles.
And thank you so much, Jack, for your insights, but we are all out of time. Coming up, were the Bahamas a dream come true for the women's basketball team? Find out after the break.
Patriotism. It inspires passionate debate. It's worn like a badge of honor with good reason, because it means love and devotion for one's country. But what really makes up this country of ours? It's the people. To love America is to love all Americans. This year, patriotism shouldn't just be about pride of country. It should be about love. Love beyond age, sexuality, disability, race, religion, and other labels. Because love has no labels.
Sometimes the things we do or say can make others feel hurt, excluded, or isolated. Everything you say and do creates an impact.
How am I supposed to save the whole world?
You can't think about saving the world. You have to think about saving one person.
Because of you, someone's entire life can change. You don't have to be a superhero to have a positive impact.
Friends?
Friends. After you joined our family, it was like, I really do feel complete now.
And welcome back to Golden Eagle Sports Report. Once again, I'm Gabriel Cicerica.
And I'm Nancy Flaherty. The women's basketball team are returning from the nice tropical weather in the Bahamas, but not from vacation or relaxation.
Instead, they lace up their sneakers for the battle for Atlantis.
Now, the Golden Eagles go 2 for 3 during the span and come out victorious over Gonzaga and tame the previously ranked number 3 Texas Longhorns.
The win over the Longhorns is now the highest ranked win in program history.
Incredibly iconic, and after their incredible performances, both senior guard Jordan King and senior forward Chloe Murata earned spots to the battle for Atlantis all-tournament team. I think they deserve a break.
Absolutely, well deserved though. But the Golden Eagles are back home in the Milwaukee cold and take on the St. Francis Red Flash at the Owl. The Golden Eagles can't stop scoring and go on an early 10-5 lead. St. Francis suddenly flashes 4 unanswered points to make the game competitive. But the second quarter is a different song as Marquette has a 21-point unanswered run and head back to the nest during halftime up 43-15. And Marquette keeps stacking up the score on the Red Flash to start the second half. This is trademark Duffy basketball and it's on full display. With a layup from junior forward Juliana Okason, every player on the roster scores a point.
Marquette turns the Red Flash in a lopsided victory 83-40. And don't forget, thanks to an incredible 6-1 start to the season, the women are now ranked 24 in the new AP polls. I'm excited. And with that, we'd like to welcome in women's basketball beat reporter Kaylin Wright. Thank you for being with us tonight.
Thank you for having me.
Now, the battle for Atlantis was filled with incredible Marquette wins over Gonzaga and Texas. How can Marquette keep building off these massive wins?
Yeah, one thing I noticed was their rebounding. They had 46 rebounds against Texas, and 18 of those were offensive. That gives them second chance points, second chances to score, and that's going to be super important for the success this year. Also, I noticed their aggressiveness and their energy definitely played a part in that win against Texas. 13 steals, one of the highest steals this season, and if they can keep that up, they're going to be a force to be reckoned with this season.
Now, someone's got to be behind all those steals and the energy during the game. Who was the Marquette MVP during the battle for Atlantis?
You know, for me, it was a toss-up between Jordan King and Chloe Murata, but for me, it's Jordan King. She had 25 points against Texas, 3 for 6 from the three-point line, and she was just a presence on the court that the Golden Eagles needed. Once she fouled out in that UCLA game where they took a loss, that was kind of when things went downhill. And she's definitely going to be a factor in their success this year. She was also named to the Battle for Atlantis All-Tournament team, averaging 16 points a game, 3.7 rebounds, and 2.3 assists. So she's been a great factor this season for them.
Now, I would say that presence from King has definitely kind of seeped into the rest of the team, and Coach Duffy has been hyping up the depth, and we've finally seen it firsthand with every player scoring a point in the last game. Now, how can this depth come into play going forward?
Yeah, it's definitely going to be important for them as they start Big East play on Friday against Georgetown, but I think more importantly as they get into tough teams like UConn and Villanova, that's going to be super important. And it's good for Coach Duffy when she doesn't see what she likes from her starters on the court, she can turn to the bench and she has options, and because she knows they are going to be contributors.
Now, we'll look forward to seeing those games. Now, the last game against St. Francis was also the best offensive game so far this season. How is Marquette able to stack up the score, and who can this team continue to rely on during that offense?
Yeah, 83 points, highest of the season right there. It was definitely that run from the first quarter into the second quarter, 21-0 run from 7 different players. That's insane. And if they can continue to do that, that's going to be super important for them. Also, they limited their turnovers. Against UCLA, they had 24, and on Sunday they had 11. It's going to be super important there. And I definitely think they can rely on Liza Carlin, 18 points in 21 minutes. That efficient performance is going to be super important for them this season.
Impressive across the board during those games. Now, the next 2 games are conference games against Georgetown and Seton Hall. What can we expect from the team going into Big East play?
Definitely a lot of depth from Coach Duffy there. The strength in numbers is something that she's definitely talked about this whole season. And if they can get contributors from Mackenzie Hare and Nia Clark, all those players off the bench, it's going to be super important in their success against the Big East teams.
Absolutely. Now, Marquette is now ranked 24 in current AP polls. Now, we're the Marquette Golden Eagles, not the Marquette Goldilocks. Is this ranked too low, too high? or just right? What do you think, Kaylin?
You know, for me, I think it's just right. They had those big wins against Texas and Gonzaga, but you know, the rest of their games have been non-conference, not too much of a challenge for them. So I think number 24 is just right. You know, it puts a target on their back coming into Friday. So we'll see what happens.
Well, I can't wait to see that development. Kaylin, thank you so much for being on tonight. Now, coming up next, we've got some discussion about NFL quarterbacks, the World Cup, and maybe some puns along the way during our panel discussion. Don't go anywhere, Marquette Nation. We will be right back.
Operation Wonder Park is a go!
There's nothing more powerful than imagination.
Honey, have you seen my cell phone?
But don't just imagine.
My park came to life?
Ooh, a plot twist.
Use STEM to build, create.
She did it.
And change the world.
Who's with me?
I'm more of a 2 feet on the ground kind of guy.
It's gonna hurt tomorrow.
If she can STEM, so can you. Find out more at She Can STEM.
Most party fouls are pretty dumb. But if you decide to drink and drive underage, you could lose your license and your freedom. Underage drinking and driving. The ultimate party foul.
Hey world, I have a quick message. It's about safe driving. All right, let's go. Anytime you're driving, have the seatbelt buckled tight. Both hands on the wheel and your phone out of sight. When not in your hand trying to text somebody back. Because if you do, your car might get smacked. The moral of the story, just put your phone down. The people on the road will stay safe and sound. Put your phone down, put your phone down. People on the road will stay safe and sound. Yeah.
Roll over. When you adopt a shelter pet, you discover all the things that make them unique. And your mother. They're a little bit of a lot of things, but they're all pure love.
Every day,
millions of people are connecting. Father,
cosplayer,
mentor,
actor. It's time we take a step forward, come together,
and discover
how accepting our differences
can make us stronger.
Back in Studio 7 as we discuss the World Cup, the NFL, and college basketball insanity. Joining me on the panel tonight is Gabriel Cesarica and Jack Albright. Gentlemen, let's get into it. Now, one of the biggest headlines in the United States right now is that the men's national team survived and moved on to the round of 16 of the World Cup. Would you say the men have a chance to take it all? Gabe, I want to hear from you first.
You know, Nancy, this is definitely a big feat for the men's soccer team, but you're talking about winning it all. I don't think it's going to happen, right? This men's team is definitely a lot better than previous teams that we've seen before. However, they just don't have the talent on paper and really the coaching overall to make it all the way to the final and ultimately win the whole thing.
Interesting. Jack, what do you got?
I have to agree with Gabriel here. I do not think head coach Greg Berhalter did a good job. I wrote a column on that. You should go check it out in the latest Marquette Tribune. The fact that Jordan Pefok and Ricardo Pepi are not on the team, but Haji Wright is, really says a lot about Berhalter's inability to make the correct choices. Also, the fact that Gio Reyna has played probably a total of 8-9 minutes this entire World Cup is shocking. Haji Wright was walking on the field for most of the game against England, but he plays 82 minutes. And Gio Reyna, who brings talent, skill, and actual effort, plays 8, is shocking. The U.S. men's national team really recovered well after not making it to the 2018 World Cup by losing to Trinidad and Tobago. But they don't have the talent to get it. They don't have the coaching to get it. Maybe if they had someone other than Greg Berhalter in, like Jesse March, maybe they could, but not this year.
Well, you have a vendetta against Greg Berhalter.
I do.
I'd love to hear all about it. Now, we'll go into more specifics about different teams and whether you think which one is the most impressive, but I got to ask you both, who do you think is going to win it all? Jack?
Before the tournament started, I would have said Argentina. And then they went on and lost to Saudi Arabia, so I don't think it's going to be them. I look at Spain right now as a serious threat in this World Cup. Luis Enrique has turned a team that didn't look competitive at all thought they were barely going to make it out of the group stage into a 7-0 winning team, and then going on to tie Germany. Yes, the job's not done. Yes, they still have a lot to do, but Luis Enrique is a talented coach. He's showing it. Pedri's great. Gavi's great. The fact that Morata came on and scored a brilliant outside the foot shot goal says a lot about the quality of Spain's attack, and I think they need to be on watch.
All right, we got Jack for Spain, certainly fired up about
Yes.
it. Gabriel, what is your response? What do you think?
You know, Spain's a good one, but for me, it's going to have to be the French national team. I think France as a whole, they won the World Cup last time 4 years ago, and this team is just so impressive to me personally because they have so many injuries and it doesn't seem to matter. They just kind of replace the next guy and they have no issues. That's a sign of a really well-rounded team overall. And ultimately, with France having Mbappe up front, you know, you saw him score early on, and then even when Mbappe's not in, Giroud comes in and he scores. They have no issue scoring, and they don't allow goals either. I have a hard time seeing any team getting past France.
I don't know if I agree with you. If they had Karim Benzema, give it to me. France has the talent to win. They have the age to win. They have the experience to win. But no Karim Benzema, the Ballon d'Or winner, the best player in the world right now, absolutely dominated for Real Madrid all last season. Without him, once they get to the later stages, they're not going to be able to perform.
All right, well, you guys both have your picks for who do you think is going to win it all, but that doesn't necessarily mean they've been the most impressive. As the World Cup group stages come to an inevitable close, which team has been the most impressive as of late? That doesn't necessarily mean your pick to who's going to win, but impressive. Jack, I want to hear it from you.
Senegal.
You got opinions. Oh,
Senegal's
Senegal.
the only answer. Before the World Cup, right before it, they lost Sadio Mane, FC Bayern Munich attacker, their best player, the most prolific attacker arguably on Bayern Munich to begin with after Lewandowski left, and they lost him. Without them, I came into the World Cup thinking Senegal's not going to make it out of the group stage. But lo and behold, they pulled up their bootstraps, they went in hard, fought hard, and now they're in the round of 16, and they're a team to watch. They are a dark horse. I'm calling it right now, a dark horse.
All right, Senegal certainly has a great story kind of coming clear through the World Cup. I got to give them props for that. Gabriel, what are you fired up about? Who do you think has been the most impressive during this World Cup?
You know, for me, it's only been 2 games so far, but it has to be Brazil. Brazil in their first 2 games have been totally dominant, and a similar story to France, right? They don't have all their players. Neymar was out in their last game, and they've had no problems, you know, getting a ton of shots on goal and ultimately being a good, well-rounded team. Against Serbia, they had 26 shots on target, 26 shots total, 10 shots on target, and the ultimate 2 goals. They have no problem spreading the ball around, controlling the pace, and they have a very, very talented squad with potentially Neymar coming back when the group stage starts.
All right, well, we've talked about the teams. Let's talk about the players. This is the last World Cup for Lionel Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo, and potentially the last World Cup for Neymar. Would any of them winning this cup shift the narrative in the greatest of all-time conversation in men's soccer? Gabriel, what are you thinking?
You know, I don't think so. I think Lionel Messi, for me, is the greatest player of all time, and I don't think Ronaldo or Neymar can do anything in this World Cup to prove otherwise. You know, Messi has that Copa win in international play, and him and that Argentina team are just so powerful. You know, Messi has been one of the best for so long, and I don't think it's going to change.
All right, we got a Messi fan over here. Jack, what are you thinking?
You say he's been the best for so long. So is Ronaldo. Let's not discount his longevity. Secondly, Messi has one international title against only South American teams. He missed a penalty against Chile in the finals a few years ago, which means they only have one Copa America. Ronaldo led Portugal, ended up coaching them in the final because of an injury, to win a Euro. A Euro. That's worth so much more than a Copa America. It just is. The talent's higher, the skill level's higher, they're less common. Cristiano Ronaldo, book it.
All right, I'm sorry, Gabriel. I'm going to lean with Jack on this one. I think just watching Cristiano Ronaldo become the first male player to score in 5 World Cups was enough to make him the GOAT for me. Like, I got to lean towards him, so Messi, you're all alone on this one. All right, now let's talk about American football. With Zach Wilson being benched for Mike White this past game for the New York Jets, the question arises, who is the answer for the quarterback for New York? Gabriel, I want to hear your opinion.
You know, Mike White looked fantastic. He was absolutely sensational for the Jets last week, but I do think it was a little bit of an overreaction, right? The Jets played the Chicago Bears, and the Chicago Bears are one of the worst defenses in the NFL, and Eddie Jackson, one of their best players, did get injured in the middle of the game. I mean, the Bears really had no chance going into that game in the first place, and we saw what happened with Mike White last year, did the same thing, threw for over 400 yards in his first game ever with the Jets, and then didn't win a game afterwards, played half the season. I think Zach Wilson is the one who is going to come back, and I also believe this because it looked like Coach Saleh was just kind of sending a message. You know, Wilson didn't take accountability for that loss against the Patriots last week after their offense only put up 3 points. I think one game out was going to be enough to, for Wilson to really realize that, like, he has to step it up, and I think he's going to get that opportunity moving forward.
You bring up an interesting analysis. Now, Jack, keeping in mind Coach Sala as well, who is your pick?
It's got to be Mike White. His performance against the Bears defense was sublime, to say the least. Threw for over 300 yards, 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, over a 100 quarterback rating. Zach Wilson has not done well this season. There's no actual reason to think he'd perform for the rest of it. I don't see why you give the start back to Zach Wilson as just a message, because he hasn't played well. Robert Saleh is standing up to his quarterback, which you don't see a lot of coaches doing nowadays, because quarterback is the key to the team. Saleh saying no to that. My scheme works. You don't fit in the scheme. You're going to sit. And you saw Mike White absolutely pop off. If Zach Wilson was playing better and had a couple bad weeks, I think my answer would be different, but he's not really been impressive. It's been the Jets' defense that has really solidified them as a true team to look for in the playoffs. So I go Mike White as the answer.
Interesting. Really, really fascinating the way you used air quotes when talking about the quarterback of the team. Do you have an opinion that the quarterback of the team, like, isn't the main turning point for the New York Jets?
I think it is, but we're seeing this trend where coaches are just rolling on their backs for a quarterback. Like, the quarterback is the answer, not the head coach. Look to the Seahawks. They chose their head coach over their quarterback in Russell Wilson. And look at how the Broncos are doing. Look at how the Seahawks are doing. It's not close. People put way too much stock in the quarterback, as they should. They should put a lot of stock in it. You're not going to win a Super Bowl without an elite quarterback. But when it comes to a head coach, they roll on their backs. They make changes for the quarterback when that's not the answer necessarily. It hasn't been for the Denver Broncos. It wasn't for the Seahawks. And it isn't for the Jets.
All right, I think my dissenting opinion is going to kind of play right into your analysis, but I don't care. I think that Wilson is going to stay on. And Coach Sala has come up forward and said that this was just kind of a one-game thing. Wilson's going to stay on. So I think it's interesting, and we'll kind of see what plays forward, but I'm leaning on Wilson for this one. Now let's talk about another quarterback. Out with the rib injury, quarterback Aaron Rodgers was replaced with second-string Jordan Love. And despite it not being Valentine's Day, he looked surprisingly well. Should the Packers move forward with Love? Gabriel, what's your opinion? What do you think? How you feel about Love? Feeling the love? Huh? Hard eyes? Let's hear it.
No Jordan Love slander here. He looked fantastic in the game 2 days ago now, but it's to be Monday. But anyways, Love, his mechanics looked way better, but this is Aaron Rodgers' team, and they're not going to go away from Aaron Rodgers unless they absolutely have to. Aaron Rodgers has been so good for so long, and you talk about the Packers being only 4-8, but it just doesn't matter. They're going to play Aaron Rodgers when he's on their team, and even if Jordan Love has a career game over and over and over again, this is still Aaron Rodgers' team at the end of the day, and the Packers are going to keep relying on him to potentially win games.
Now, Jack, it'll be interesting to kind of hear your input on this, especially talking about how the lenience on that quarterback should just kind of not be there for a football team necessarily. What do you think?
Okay. Aaron Rodgers is Aaron Rodgers. I'm not going to sit here and act like he isn't a great quarterback. We all know he is. He's Aaron Rodgers. But he hasn't been able to perform this year when Devontae Adams leaves the team. But Jordan Love is. And let's not discount this Eagles defense. This is an Eagles team that have 2 losses on the season. 1 loss on the season, actually. I'm sorry. And he comes in mid-game after Aaron Rodgers leaves, and absolutely dominates. Jordan Love played an excellent game. They used a first-round pick on him. Throughout this season, Aaron Rodgers has proven that without Devontae Adams, he's really not all that great. He hasn't been this season. He put a lot of blame on his wide receivers at the beginning of the year, but he needs to take some of the blame for himself. Jordan Love overcame the lack of elite weapons on that Packers team and was able to turn out and actually do a lot better than Aaron Rodgers did. I go Jordan Love.
With the amount of times, though, you're kind of bringing up the Eagles, I'd almost think you're from Philadelphia.
No.
All right. Personally, not the biggest Aaron Rodgers fan, but I do appreciate your analysis on that. Very intriguing. Thanks for the great discussion, but we are out of time. Be sure to tune in next week, though, for all of our coverage of Marquette sports and more. For Gabriel Cicerica, I'm Nancy Flaherty. Good night, Marquette.
STEM is precise, no margin for error.
Dare to forget that. Dare to have fun with it. Get weird with it. Dare to load their minds. Dare to explore. Dare to STEM. Learn more at She Can STEM.
Before we celebrate the freedom most Americans have, we must fight for the freedom all Americans deserve. Because all lives can't matter until Black lives matter.